Hey guys, some gamer dude here. Last time I did a video about regrets, a very generalized video. I had more to talk about, but I felt since that video was a bit long and I had a few Vanguard things to talk about, I should make a video devoted to Vanguard regrets. I want to start with a currently relevant one. I don't like my Vanguard V review. I didn't like it before it released, and I rather regret releasing it at all. I think it's incoherent. I think it's quite obvious I was over talking about Vanguard by that point. The only videos I felt passionate about were the review for the original game and the one about stand triggers. I think the V review feels like two videos bound together. One I felt obligated to make, and one that, while I do feel has some truth to it in terms of my feelings, is painted by my experiences with the game. Again, same person I mentioned last time being a Debbie Downer, and me echoing their opinions. But after that, I only played with people new to the game as a whole, and honestly, hating Maelstrom this time around really did put a damper on it. I tried a lot of clans as they came out on Cardfight Area long before making my proxies, but I never really found something that clicked. I enjoyed the game enough, I just didn't find that deck that was like, yep, I love this. I'm the type of player that needs something that's both viable and that I enjoy. I get enjoyment usually for mechanical reasons. I like to find decks that are satisfying to play. I've played competitive for competitive sake in other games, did really well, but I never enjoyed myself. It's not fun to me, and I didn't pursue higher levels of play. I'd say of everything I played in Vanguard V, Oracle Think Tank felt the most like home, a clan I felt comfortable with. But the experience just didn't resonate with me in the same way the original game did. A lot of the magic was gone. I think a lot of that missing magic was community. When I first picked up Vanguard, I could just go to my local store and they were running locals. I met a really good friend there and had good times. It's not there anymore. The community dissipated years ago, and that store itself recently relocated. Other stores I like either don't touch the game anymore or have closed down. Honestly, I think this is partially why I enjoy making games a little more than playing them now. Reiterating something I said last video, it's really interesting how other people can influence your opinions on things. Not directly, but emotionally. Not only that, but the environment you play things in shapes your experiences. I think in the future I really have to be conscious of my environment and of other people. I have to try to separate what I think of what other people are saying to me and understand whose emotions I'm feeling. So I've never really talked about my experiences with competitive play. It's not something I concern myself with too much anymore. I just like to have fun playing the games I enjoy with the people I like. Even when I did care, I never really applied myself. The best record I have is a third place in the City Champs for Pokemon way back in Generation 3. I was playing Meta Knight at the time. The guy that took first place came down from Queensland, and that guy was something else. I'm not going to mention him by name because I don't know if he'd be okay with that, but there are two people I've known over my years that have legitimately impressed me by how good they are at card games. I've never been able to win against either of them. He's one of them. He took first in a tournament for Vanguard in Asia shortly before retiring from card games completely. I had to fight him that day. Good times, and he's a good guy. With Vanguard, the furthest I ever tried was a couple of Springfests. One shortly after the first two Break Ride trial decks came out in late 2013, and one in the early G era. I recall that G, BTO2, and Fighters Collection 2015 were out at the time, so mid-2015. I made the same stupid call twice. So let's discuss them in chronological order. Late 2013. I just gotten Scarlet Witch Coco together, and it was serving me really well. It's not the most complex of decks, but a really good one for its day, and it was fun. Drawing cards, being able to protect yourself, and using Silence on for pressure. I felt very comfortable with it, and I'd played it a lot prior to the Springfest. So I played the Blood instead because Macross Ride. It was my prior main deck, and it was considered top tier for its day. If memory serves correctly, my mains for the first two blocks were Dudley Emperor, then Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion, which became the Blood, then finally Coco. I had other decks, they just weren't my main. So, the first game I fight Aquaforce, and a kid quite my junior. He has issues shuffling my deck. Takes it to waist height to have an easier time shuffling. I couldn't see exactly what he was doing as this was behind the edge of the table, but I draw a completely dead hand and grade lock for turns on end. I lose because of this, naturally. I should have gotten a judge over to shuffle my deck. I don't know if anything sus happened, I just know I should have. It was the correct thing to do. I took it on good faith and shouldn't have. Afterwards I realised what had happened and I had made a major mistake. This got me a bit frazzled. I misplayed a lot against a Zeal deck and bombed out. For the side events I boxed up the Blood and brought out Coco. I did very well with that, but left before the day was over because I got the promos that I wanted. I still have this sheet in my folder, and I did remember my win rate being a lot higher than it was, but apparently I won 5 of 8 side event games. So, Springfest 2015. This time it's a team match. My teammates used Mega Colony and Royal Paladin, if I recall correctly. I used Big Bang Turbo. I had gotten my last countercharge perfect guard that day, from the guy I mentioned earlier from Queensland. While I was building G-Zones for most of my older decks getting legacy support, and I did have both Susanoo and Victor, Big Bang and Maelstrom had made their way to being the two I swapped between. I expected a lot of rearguard retirements, particularly Big Bang himself. This wasn't what I thought at all. I think I might have been one of the few actually rocking Big Bang. We got up to round 3. Round 1 I lost, as did Mega Colony, while Royal Paladin won. Round 2 I won, as did Royal Paladin, while Mega Colony lost. Round 3 I won, and both of the other two lost. At least this is what I remember, I don't have exact documentation. I might be wrong. I know I lost round 1, won rounds 2 and 3. Royal lost round 3, and 3 was the last round we were in. Side events I switched to Maelstrom and Clean Up. I remember losing only once, and people being quite salty at me because I did not go in all guns blazing with Lambros. Instead I was using cards like Rascal Sweeper and Admiral Maelstrom to grind the game out a bit. Kill their guys, draw cards, finish up with Lambros when I knew it was going to be game winning. I like a game of attrition with Maelstrom, and I am aware my opinions on Aquaforce are not mainstream. I seem to remember running 8 stand 4 critical at the time, as Marios was giving enough cards to make draws superfluous. I suppose a lot of people just expect stuff like Tidal Assault and have learned to play against that. I should have played Maelstrom in the main event too. My final regret is over-investing in Vanguard. I bought too much back in the day. There were 2 reasons for this. 1, things just landed in my lap and I felt compelled to finish them. 2, I wanted to try a bunch of stuff and didn't take the opportunity to try them via cost-effective means. Cardfight area or paper proxies, the latter of which I did do some of during the original era. Just not enough. I think it was just Link Joker to be honest. I did a video series years ago showing off all my decks and it took about 70 minutes over 4 videos because there were way too many. I think if I had actually tried decks before I bought anything, real grind sessions too, I don't think I would have bothered with quite a few clans that I bought for either aesthetic reasons or because the anime made them look cool. In retrospect, that feels like common sense. But I guess when you go full-blown obsession like I did way back then, common sense goes out the window. I think this is another personal change I need to make. I need to stop jumping from game to game and deck to deck. I think I do it because I can't get no satisfaction. But I believe it hampers my ability to fine-tune things. I don't really stick with things long enough. I get bored and want to try something else. There is this comment about Magic that deck variance is the lifeblood of the game. I wonder if all the consistency other games have is part of the reason why I get bored. I'm not sure if I feel that way about Magic. I think I have 8 Magic decks, but this is over 4 years. I don't feel the need to buy a new Magic deck unless I really want it. It's not a matter of getting bored with what I have. I think this video ended up being much shorter than the last one because I don't actually have many regrets with Vanguard. I was talking to a mate about this recently, ranking the games we've played over the years, and the original Vanguard is still in my top 3 games. I think that says something. I feel a bit better now I've gotten the chance to be really frank for a change. Talk about something a bit more personal than you've come to expect from me. Next fortnight everything will be back to normal around here. I've been going through my folder of half-finished scripts and taking the time to finish them, rewrite them or axe them. Gave me a good few weeks of content. Again, if you've gotten this far, thanks for sticking with me. This has been Some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.